Yeah,
Did you see the article that said Bloomberg Romney?
No.
That was the bulwark.
Oh my
As if
God.
that wouldn't be a disgusting nightmare for this
Oh
country.
wow.
No, but there's a weird paradox almost of like, you look at New York City. Stop and frisk was a gun control measure. Literally, stop and frisk was implemented as gun control. And this is the craziest thing to me, because what it ended up doing is it created this authoritarian racist policy, targeting literally black youth, creating a cycle of poverty and crime. And this is happening in the blue place. So clean your house, clean your room, bucko. You know what I mean? Like, why are you going to go to the national level and complain when you don't even clean up your own city? Instead, now Bloomberg's just dumping money to buy it, and they're going to put this guy in office.
Well, a lot of that goes down to people not understanding what the United States of America means.
What does it mean?
It means that there are 50 separate entities, separate but equal entities that all come together to, vote on a president or vote on things that are federal matters like military or something of that regard. But people don't hear the states.
Right.
They think United States is just the name, and it doesn't mean anything. So, when you're trying to discuss the Electoral College or something of that magnitude, and they don't understand why people in Nebraska don't want people in California telling them how to run their
It's the weirdest thing.
cow farms. Yeah, I mean,
like, Chicago has gun violence problems. Yeah, it's a big city controlled by Democrats.
yes.
That's your problem. Your law won't work for Kansas. I don't understand why they don't get this, but I guess it's just, they're, I don't know, what, myopic. They can't.
I almost feel like a lot of them don't even realize that things can be done. Like, a lot of the citizens don't even realize things can be done really at a state level.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, in the last 10 years they knew, but now it's like everything has to be done on a federal level. Like,
I think it's also fair to point out it's the inverse is true with Republicans.
Yes.
Or at least maybe it used to be. I had Jack Murphy on. I don't know if you know him. Well, I mentioned it before, but he mentioned that what made it easy for him to switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party was that cultural issues came off the table, like pot legalization and gay marriage.
yes.
So I mean, you're a libertarian.
I'm a libertarian.
Do you care for the Democrat-Republican thing, or what's your?
There's no viable third party right now. There's not going to be a viable third party until they get into the debates. And right now that's going through the motions. I don't know. It'll probably make it to the Supreme Court if it's not already sitting in their docket somewhere. But that's actually something that Gary Johnson was pushing to get into the debates. And that's still rolling, as far as I know, through the motions to happen.
I mean, wouldn't that just split the vote? Like, libertarians and there's more libertarians who would vote for Trump than Democrats.
Yes, there's far more, because Democrats right now are running far left, and there's no compromise.
None.
There's nothing. I mean, even when it comes to wars, I mean, I am against war. And even when it comes to that, the candidates, it's almost like
Well, they don't
war.
care.
Yeah, it's almost like war became a Democratic platform almost in the last few years.
It's such a weird phenomenon over the past few years.
The only Democrat, there's Tulsi and Bernie are the only ones who I feel like would not start a war. Would they continue a war?
Well,
I don't know, but I mean, those are the ones that it seems like it's an agenda. I've talked about it. I'm not doing it.
Start a war is interesting. I actually think they both would. It just depends on the circumstances.
Yes, that's fair. Not a regime change. I'm sorry.
I just think it's an issue of, would Tulsi invade a foreign country to change their government? No. But if there was, like, I don't know, Uyghur torture camps like in China. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But probably not. But also, I think Tulsi is less likely to start a war because she's staunchly opposed to it, principled and tough.
Yes.
And Bernie wouldn't, because he'd be too scared and feeble. I know I just made a bunch of Bernie Sanders supporters angry, but I'm not having it anymore. The dude can't even stop a small woman from taking a microphone from him.
Yep.
So look, I can respect his insurgency campaign, going up against the Democratic establishment, but that small woman grabbed the mic and he couldn't stop her. It's like Trump would have punched her in the face. Okay, I'm kidding. He wouldn't have, but he just shoved her off. He'd just been like, "Excuse
Trump
me."
would have had his Secret Service there.
Well,
I mean,
it's true.
I don't think anybody would have even made it to that close to him.
Bernie
Has anybody rushed him ever?
Someone rushed him.
No, I'm sorry. Trump. Has Trump ever had anybody rush?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that.
And Trump's reaction was he spun around really fast. And I don't know if you can, like, a lot of people on the left are like, haha, he was scared. And I'm like, He was alert. You're clearly going to see what you want to see. Like Trump supporters are going to see a president who's tough and alert and immediately like darted to see what was happening. The left is going to claim whatever.
He cowered.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
No, you know, but it's kind of not fair. I mean, Bernie doesn't have Secret Service. I think Trump would have just pushed her. I think he would have pushed her off the stage.
You think you're right.
Yeah, right. He's not gonna, you know.
Yeah. Does Bernie have security?
That's the crazy thing. I don't think he does.
I mean, I've seen, you know, pictures of him from people who are like, haha, look, you have guns, you know, like with people walking with him.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any there.
That's the one thing that's always bothered me
His
too.
wife walked him off stage.
How does he not have security? Do they not vet these people? Like these women rip their shirts off and just.
They don't, because it's you can't discriminate, you know, like.
You know what, man? Bernie's got a real problem with the people he surrounds himself with.
He does.
Yeah.
I think he takes in a lot of the people, the socially outcasted, which, you know, that happens and that's fine and that's great. But at some point, you got to have boundaries. And he doesn't seem to have. It's
interesting. You ever play World of Warcraft?
No, I haven't.
See, I have. But it reminds me of the Horde. It's like this ragtag bunch that don't really agree on anything. And they're like all of the outcasts forming their own coalition against the Alliance, which is like very, you know, the Alliance is the big glorious cities and.
Kind of like in every Disney movie where all the animals team up to kill the bad guy.
I mean, kind of, but I don't know. A lot of people, a lot of people listening probably don't get the reference to Warcraft, but basically, Bernie Sanders' campaign is a bunch of people who probably would not get along in a room together, and they're just basically like, yeah, we're gonna vote for Bernie, and they all kind of assign their own beliefs to whatever his campaign is, because you've got the far left that want to burn it all down.
Yep.
Then you've got the hippy-dippy progressive types who are like Medicare for all, woohoo, and I don't know, the various in-betweens.
Yeah.
As well as some disenfranchised, probably more moderate Democrat types who hate the establishment, hate Hillary Clinton, hate the machine. The problem is, you know, because I was a big fan of Bernie in the last cycle, but he's like been flip-flopping hard, and he's lost a bunch of people because of it.
Yep.
And then you look at Trump, and everyone's unified under whatever it is he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's like, well, that's good that they have that sort of unification behind one person. At the other, it's like you always want to make sure it's okay to question anybody if they need to be questioned. You know, like you don't have to swear allegiance to a president, and that's okay, and it's okay to question him, and it's okay to ask, essentially.
Would you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Trump?
No, I didn't vote for Trump.
Are you gonna?
I don't know if I'm even registered to vote this year.
Would you?
Would I? Well, I usually do something obnoxious, like I'll write in Ron Paul. That tends to be what I do. I live in Massachusetts, so I'm not even sure if my state could even have the potential to ever flip. I wrote in Tom Brady once for something. I don't take voting seriously there because it is a Democratic stronghold. But
yeah,
I don't know if I was really like mad and I was going in there, I could write him in. I could write him in for everything on the ticket,
Trump?
just to really
It was going to be on
troll
the ticket,
people.
right? You can just check it off.
Yeah, I just check it off. I can write him in too. I could do whatever I want because it doesn't matter how you vote in Massachusetts or California.
What do you think about the media criticism that they say he's an authoritarian, he's a dictator?
He's not a dictator. If we had a dictator, we'd know.
Right. So why did CNN try and persuade me into believing that he was a dictator? What did Brian Stelter say? He said, "It's not that you have a dictator or you don't, but that there are shades."
Shades of dictator.
And we're certainly
50 Shades of Dictator.
That's right. And Trump, you know, he fired a guy who worked for him.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm telling you the truth. You guys didn't know this, did you?
You're kidding me.
Actually fired a couple people, 70 people who worked for him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry. Some of them were reassigned.
Oh.
They're still getting paid by the government.
All right. So he's their boss.
Uh-huh.
And they're there because he wants them there.
Well, they were there because someone else hired them.
Because somebody else hired him. So
they're
they're there to his pleasure either way.
Uh-huh.
And then he fires them.
Right.
So he fires the people that he's the boss of that are there for his pleasure.
Right. So what you're saying is he is a dictator.
That's I've never heard anything more dictator-esque in my life.
But as you're a big Ron Paul fan then?
I'm a Ron Paul fan. Yes.
Ron Paul's a cool dude. When I was younger, I was really, you know, a fan. I'm still a fan of Ron Paul.
Yeah.
And I wasn't because I disagree with a lot of the stuff, But his whole shtick was like, the government has too much power. And I'm like, I don't care. Look, I'll put it this way. If I was forced to choose between any of the quadrants on the political compass, the right-wing libertarian is the best to choose from. You know why?
Why?
Because you can have any one of those systems within that. If the overarching government is like free market, libertarian, or anarcho-capitalist, you can actually build your hippy-dippy commune inside that system.
Absolutely.
And secure yourself and be free. So if you have a government that is, say, even lefty libertarian, which is where I kind of fall, which is the hippy-dippy, living on a farm with your buddies, making, growing your own crops and stuff. Even if you did that, you'd still have a whole government where they want you to cooperate. Though it's not authoritarian, you will still have majority representation or some kind of laws being passed you might not personally agree with. In a right-wing libertarian state, you can go make your farm and make your commune and say, leave me alone.
Yes.
Now, all the other quad, like the top ones, that's not even, it's out of the question.
Yes,
They'll
all
gulag you
require,
or put you in a chamber of some sort.
They all require some level of government to enforce your utopia, essentially.
Yeah.
But right-wing libertarian, in the quadrant doesn't want that.
And that's what I liked when it came to Ron Paul, because this was 10, 12. What was this? Oh, this
2012. He ran in 2008.
There's a Ron Paul sticker on a light post on the street. I thought it was funny. Yeah, Ron Paul 2012.
If I find it, I'm going to take a selfie with it.
But basically what I saw with his campaign was if he believes and agrees with things that I don't, but his whole thing is I can't tell you what to do, I'm like, hey, I'll vote for the guy who's not going to tell me what to do.
I know. And I saw, we were actually talking within my libertarian page about how Tulsi Gabbard was getting the Ron Paul treatment. Because he was shut out. He was silenced. They did not want, war is profitable. And anybody who is against war is gonna hurt them.
Wasn't there like the U.S. Army or whatever said, we don't need any more tanks? And then Congress was like, well, you're getting them anyway. And then signed the purchase order to like Lockheed Martin or whatever. They were like, we're spending that money. It subsidized the economy, I guess, to a certain degree.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's dirty money, but it subsidizes the economy. Yay, government.
Yeah. I think we're going to come to a point with war where it's just like robots on the battlefield fighting each other.
I hope we come to that point at this
But then what happens when the robots get mad and they're like, why are we fighting each other? And then they like team up.
Become sediment.
Yeah, and then they raid the factories, liberate their own kind. Actually pretty cool.
I'd watch that movie.
Anyway, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
I like Tulsi. She's awesome.
I do like her.
I think, honestly, when you look at her politics and you look at what's going on and who she talks with, she is a kooky character. And I'm not saying that to be like, I mean in the good way. She's very unique in what she's running for. And there is a lot of people were saying she's this generation's Ron Paul in that she's staunchly anti-war. And that was a big thing for Ron.
Yes.
And so they're absolutely throwing her under the bus in any way they can. Not that they really needed to. I mean, the whole thing's rigged. Yeah, it's a scam. And I feel so dumb thinking like, I'm going to vote for Andrew Yang. And it's going to, yeah, right. We see how that plays out.
See who winds up in whose cabinet.
Bloomberg.
That's what they want.
It'd be hilarious if Bloomberg does pick Romney as his VP and they run on a Democratic ticket.
Oh, gross.
The Bulwark is a conservative website. It's the Never Trumper conservative website, I guess. And they said Bloomberg Romney is the ticket for
They think that they can get the Never Trump and the Democrats, and that'll be enough to.
Bloomberg is a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's like everything they say about Trump
is Bloomberg.
Yes.
Everything.
So Trump said some naughty words.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So Trump is a rich guy. Okay, Bloomberg's actually bought an election before. Buying an election now has actually been settled harassment suits against women for actually touching them. He said tax the poor. He said old people should just die. Like, dude, how is this guy polling at 15%? Unless the sad reality is these people who say they're going to vote for him don't know or care.
It's vote blue no matter who.
We deserve Bloomberg. No, it's not going to happen. We don't.
I feel like he's establishment and he's safe and he will do whatever the establishment wants him to do. He will say what they will say what they want. He will push what they want. And I think they're like, okay, let's find a guy that's as close to Trump as we can come to, as close to what we've made everybody believe about Trump. So we have this rich, white, billionaire, New Yorker, like
authoritarian, racist.
Oh yeah,
sexist.
all the stuff that we said. So we're gonna put him because that's what the people want. If the people really want this guy, we're gonna make our left's version of this guy.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe what they're thinking is, so Donald Trump has never been a politician.
Nope.
He's never enacted a policy that targeted, minorities.
Mm-mm.
He's just said naughty words.
Oh, lots of naughty words.
Yeah, a lot of naughty words. Yep.
He says mean words too.
He says mean things. He has endorsed things like stop and frisk, but never actually done it.
Yep.
So Bloomberg is like Trump on steroids. And so the left is basically like, if this is what America wants, let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And so they're like, Bloomberg.
I think so.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We're live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want to catch the full recorded podcast, which doesn't appear in these clips, make sure you join by clicking the button down below, become a member, and then go to the community tab of this YouTube channel, and you can see all of our full episodes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to get more clips like this. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in the next show.